as always.
Barry, it's been an unbelievable year to date for darts.
Yeah.
One of the massive talking points was the Contenders when it was first announced in the Premier League. And have they given you a headache with how well they performed and the way the fans perceived it as well?
No, what was nice about it was that initially on this world of social media, you know, we all got slaughtered, you know, what a rubbish idea. And the great thing about Match Review, when it's a good idea, I nick it. So, and if it's a bad idea, I dump it on the person who actually originated. So I'm going to tell you now secretly that Matt Paul's idea was the Contenders, and I wasn't sure. On the Friday I said, give me the weekend, let me think about it. And I said, but I don't understand the principle of, in a league format, different people playing. Over the weekend, I kept seeing more and more benefits to it, and I phoned Matt on the Sunday night and went, go on then. And by the way, Matt, if it works, it was my idea. And it worked better than we could have ever dreamed. The players responded. I don't think anyone will forget the entrance of John Henderson in Aberdeen. It was one of the greatest entrances I've ever seen. They all played out their skin. None of them won, few got draws, but they knocked on the door. And in this world of opportunity that exists within the PDC, the harder you knock, the more likely you are to be heard. So they've given me a problem, because I know there's half a dozen players out there that actually, subject to a few good results this season, are really knocking on the door of Premier League, and the Contenders is an idea that's here to stay for a little bit longer.
I was going to say, gone are the days where we just see 10 players in the Premier League. Is that done now?
I think the 10-player, or the 9-player format with the Contenders works, and I think down the road you could actually see a day when there's a Contenders tournament with the winner of that tournament being qualified automatically for the following year. We're not there yet. I don't like to move at speed. I'm quite conservative in my selections, and I think the Contenders has got at least another year, and there's a lot of young players out there that we want to see. I want to see Corey Cadby out there. I want to see, you know, I mean, Nathan Aspinall's gone on to be a big success, probably the worst player in the Contenders and the best player outside of that. Chris Dobie's out, Steve Lennon, these type of players are knocking on the door, and there's a few others. So it's all about giving people an opportunity, showing them what you've got, and then saying to them, now you've got to perform on the big stage. I mean, I need to have a reason to put someone in the Premier League. So they've got to win a major, or they've got to feature in a number of final stages of majors, and then it puts the pressure on those other boys. They're not automatic selections, are they?
The World Series as well is getting bigger and stronger. What territories do we think we're moving into next, and can we see anywhere new for 2020?
Well, I think we're going to make an announcement quite soon. There's going to be some interesting developments in America. We've got a big TV contract there, and it's a big country to conquer. It's not going to be easy, but you know, I'm looking at Scandinavia. I think there's a market out there. Again, we're back looking at, can we bring back something in China, because potentially it's big markets. World Series is a media platform for us where we take the best players in the world against local players, put it on TV and try and spread the game, and it's working. But it's an evolution. Over a period of time, those invitation events have at one time got to become open events. And that's the transgression. It worked well in snooker. We did exactly the same thing in the 80s. In China, for example, we took 8 players, played 8 Chinese, and today China is 40% of our snooker market. I don't see any reason why that can't be the case on the darts as well.
Talking about players being given opportunities, can Raymond van Barneveld consider himself slightly lucky to be given the opportunity, considering his form for the last year?
So, without doubt, and I think Raymond will be the first to say, it doesn't warrant being included on ability, but two things. One, I think the sport owes certain people. Two is, he's still a commercial. The World Series is a commercial operation. It's all about selling tickets, and people are casual fans more than avid fans, and they know the name of Raymond van Barneveld. But I think Raymond will be disappointed this year that he hasn't qualified for so many events, and that disappointment I share with him, but easy to see that he hasn't played in enough events to justify that. So I think he's fortunate to get a World Series. I think on balance he deserves it. I think it was a marginal call, and it's 1 year.
As well, state of the BDO in relation to the Grand Slam coming up, obviously it's a mess. I think most darts fans would admit that. Is it getting to the point now where the BDO is maybe becoming irrelevant for the Grand Slam because of their product, their brand and quality?
I think from a quality standpoint, all you can do, like in boxing, all you can do is beat the man in front of you. So the winner of any BDO event is a good winner because he's beaten what's in front of him. The doubts are going over the BDO's future is something that worries me more. I think we need the BDO. I think we need amateur. And it is, you know, amateur. I mean, there's no doubt the best players, well, they would be crazy not to want. I mean, I've just spent a few minutes talking to Glenn Durant, and it's a pleasure. And he's, you know, he turns around and says, "This is, I can't, you know, I'm so grateful of having the opportunity." I said, "Well, you've earned the opportunity. Don't be grateful." But anyone with ability, whether it's Jamie Hughes, whether, you know, those type of players, the PDC's got no barriers. Now, what their relevance is going to be over the next few years is something that we have to wait to see what they do with their TV contracts, with their tournaments. But, you know, it's very difficult when you're trying to encourage players and paying them peanuts for getting to the last 16 or the last 8, because we've all got to earn a living. And if you're going to be a social darts player, I understand that there's a level, but you'll never reach your full potential unless you're full-time. But to be full-time, you've got to be able to earn money because you've got a wife and family to feed. So it's a catch-22 situation. It's resolvable in the PDC, but it's tough to get your tour card. I mean, Glenn Durant has done fabulously well this year, but let's be frank, he was on the very last knockings at Q School where he wasn't going to get his card if he didn't get to the last 8, and he just made it. And he was, I think, 3-1 down or something in the match before. So he earned it, no question about that, but it's not easy. So there's a limited amount of availability. I don't see in the long run, I think the BDO will have a continual problem of credibility without cash. And that's going to be the issue, is how can they finance something that will be meaningful for their players within their business model that they have to operate. And of course, you know, they're not up against us, they're not competition to us. I think we can live in harmony, and I think there is a role for both of them to play. But they've got to be realistic, and well, let's wait and see. I mean, our door is always open to see how we can help, what we can do. The Grand Slam is a prime example. I know that Matt will be talking to Des Jacklin this week, sorting out their 8 players, and we're giving them their 8 players, and we've no plans to reduce that at this stage, but we have to wait and see how their part of the game develops.
Next one as well, can you take your PDC chairman head off for a minute and go back to when you were a manager and you managed Phil? I don't think you've openly spoke about the Gerwyn price fine.
Yeah.
Do you think it was over the top how much he was fined? If you were a manager, would you be disappointed with that?
I would have appealed it. I'm very happy with the disciplinary structure within the PDC because it's totally independent, as it should be. And although people think I'm the governor, trust me when I tell you, I can't influence one bit Nigel Mayer and his people. They're ex-policemen. I can't talk to ex-policemen, you know, and we've got no chance. Spent most of my life trying to avoid them. So they are totally independent and they do what they think is appropriate, and that's their job to do. I thought 20 grand was, or whatever it was a lot of money, and I'm quite pleasantly pleased he got 10 grand off. But at the same time, he was out of order. He got punished, and then punishment is in the eye of the beholder, isn't it? How much do you give? I don't know whether do you argue that you won 100 grand by being a bit naughty, so the fine's at 10, 20 grand is not enough, you know? Or do you say it didn't affect the result, which I don't think it really did, therefore a slap on the wrist? I think we sent the right message out, and I think it's ended up about right.
Heading into the match play as well, we had so many questions about arguably the best 2 players in the world in the fitness of Gary Anderson and the form of Michael van Gerwen.
Yeah.
Is that a concern, like the form of the best player in the world right now?
No, I mean it's just an open. I mean, to my mind, if the form dips, it opens the door for someone else to be the best player in the world. That's sport. So there's everyone there. Well, they all want to be Gary Anderson. They all want to be Michael van Gerwen. Well, yeah, here's 3 darts. Go and show me. It's black and white, isn't it? It's a meritocracy. So no excuses. You're old. You've got bad back. Tough shit. Get on with it. And if not, someone else will get on with it for you. And that's the essence of why we're such a vibrant sport.
The other one that gets brought up on social media quite a lot is the state of the match boards on TV.
Yeah.
Is that being looked at?
We've just done a complete analysis of it, and the numbers are, you know, actually quite good for the dartboard. You know, I mean, we look at it, of course, Because it always, if it does happen at a significant moment in a match, it draws more attention to it. But when you actually look and say, and some of the numbers I think are going to be published next week, is like Michael van Gerwen has thrown 61,000 darts in the last 12 months, and we've analysed every dart. And of that 61,000 darts, I think he had two bounce outs. Well, 2 out of 61,000 not bad. Other players have had a higher percentage because of the way they throw a dart, you know. So it's all a bit complicated. We want a fair level playing field. I think we're always going to get issues of darts that either hit another dart or hit the steel surf of the wire, and other darts that just for one reason or another come out, and that can be down to a bad dartboard, it can be down to atmospheric conditions. Much too complicated for me, but the Stato boys will be delighted to know all of this is going to be released, and it's a humongous amount of work to get all these figures. And I think the percentage we're down to on bounce out, the average percentage of bounce out was somewhere around 0.3% of darts thrown. So is that good? Is that bad? I don't know. You tell me, because that's your job.
Quick one from me. You mentioned in the PDC, you talked about major winners and all that sort of stuff. You talked about that bringing into the Premier League, basically, you'd have to think about that. Does that basically mean that that's been all, if you didn't get opposite to the top 4 in the world, could be not necessarily guaranteed a place, but will be definitely on the
I think Nathan has done, he's put his name bang in the frame. You've only got to look back on previous selections to say that players that have won tournaments, or James Wade and people like that, have been looked upon because they've proved their ability to compete at the highest level. So whilst you never want to take away the drama of the last night of the World Championships, I think Nathan Aspinall has made his claim in the loudest possible way. But you can't say that we don't suddenly get 4 major winners in the next 4 tournaments, and there might only be 3 or 4 spots. And so there's no certainties in life, but I think Nathan has proved himself on the big stage, and I think he's looking like, if I was a neutral, I think he's a good bet.
Just finally, any plans for any TV tournaments in the future, any more particular ranking tournaments in the future?
Watch this space. You know, the one thing about life, relationships, whatever, is complacency is the biggest killer. There will never be a day when I don't spend most of my working hours trying to think of something new that keeps the game vibrant in the public's eye and improves profitability. Funnily enough, one of my key cornerstones, we have a great, sustainable, profitable business where prize money has gone from £500,000 when I took over to 15 million, and I don't intend stopping now. So we're going to have to keep coming up with new ideas, and there'll be 1 or 2 things that will probably shock you over the next few months where you think, bloody hell, that's what Barry Owen was talking about. It's going to be always different things. The game will continue to progress and continue to give opportunities and continue to pay players life-changing money if you're good enough, and if you're not, get another job.
As always, Barry, thank you.
All right, well done, boys.